What are you doing? What, are you gonna pay for towing? You gonna pay for a new motor? Dude, I live in a van, remember? I can't afford this. Proper send-off, just like the old man would have wanted. You're crazy. Dude, I don't know about this. I don't know about this, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are with the one and only. If you needed advice on the movie to rent for your first date, this is who you're going to want to ask. Okay, we are with the one and only. If Denzel Washington needs advice, if George Clooney were to inquire, we're with Cameron McCormick, everybody. Cameron is a dad, a family man. He's a husband. He's just an all-around nice guy, really kind, really fun to get coffee with, to rap about coffee with.
Always.
And he's an actor and owns a photography company. And he's really visually creative. And I wanted to have him on in my fall interview series because I'm a musician, and there are a couple similarities. You know, there's like, you know, just getting lost in the emotion of the product, and you know, there's writing involved. You know, there's so many similarities. But what I'm interested in finding out is what more we might have in common, and also what more you might have in common with Cameron here. So I appreciate everyone being here. If you could get started by just commenting where you're watching from, that would really help us to figure out if you're awesome or if you're not. I mean, if you're in a warm climate, you're probably better than us because well, you're based out of West Michigan and LA, right? Like, so you're around, right? Or...
Yeah. I moved to Los Angeles for like 3 months, but I was poor so fast. It is not cheap out there.
Man. Well, I'll ask you more about that during our grind section.
All right.
People think we're going to skateboard now, but
let's do that too.
So did I miss anything? Is there something else that I didn't say about you? I mean, you've got the rockin' dad beard going.
Oh, so this is for a picture. Every Christmas, me and my friend my friend and I do a Christmas picture, and we always grow our facial hair out so we can shave it in some weird way for the photo.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I think we're taking the picture Saturday, so it'll be up on Christmas.
Okay. I'm stoked. Well, I'm going to have to share that with everybody too. So I just want to start by, you know, saying I've really appreciated diving deep into your work. I got a chance to watch all of your short films, and I really resonated with some of those characters, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, just how I was emotionally connected to that. It's intriguing to me to be friends with someone who is pursuing this field, because I don't have a lot of friends that are actors. And it's just inspiring to see that you are, you know, we've gotten together and talked about how, you know, you are a family man and you're doing acting as well and stuff. And I'm interested in knowing like how the two work well together. So do you have any memories about us, how we met, or like any sort of, because, you know, people have memories of me that I don't remember a lot. So
I remember you in media class in high school. You were a couple grades ahead of me. Yeah. I remember you.
What?
I remember you there. Yeah.
This is crazy. I don't remember this. Go ahead.
Yep. Is you and
media class of all classes. This is perfect.
Yeah. No, I remember you hung out with somebody, and I wish I could remember it. But that's my first like memory of you. I remember you were like a skateboarder, like punk, and so I was like, I think I was a little like intimidated because you were a couple years older than me.
And probably a douchebag. I was probably a douchebag.
I don't remember that, but maybe.
But maybe. We're not ruling it out. Media class. Dude, that was between 2001 and 2005 that we had met then.
It had been 2005.
That's nuts, dude.
Because I was either a freshman or a sophomore.
So I was a senior in 2005. Yeah, media class was Um, I don't even have to tell you that. I used to be interested in making movies.
Mhm.
I actually recently, like, I loved editing movies, and I wanted to make chick flicks and stuff. And so there are deep seated reasons why I got you on here. But it is talk about me, that's for sure. So I'm gonna start off with something my friend Caitlin had told me recently. Well, not recently, like fairly recently. She had said, "Nothing comes out of us that doesn't first go into us." Um, and we were talking in the context, we were talking about devotional time and stuff, but that can be applied to anything. Psychology, psychiatry, that can be applied to just the conversations we have before we leave our house in the morning. And, just like the love that we're able to give other people, are we filled up with that? But what makes me want to start out with that with you is there's got to be an awful lot of film experience in order to want to hop on that side of the screen, right? To hop into the screen. So can you tell me which VHS tapes could have been found in the childhood Cameron home? Any VHSs that you remember seeing on your shelves?
All the Disney ones with the big old cases that you had to like pry open, like
the plastic ones.
Yeah. And we weren't allowed to have rated R movies in our home, so all of them that I can remember were kids movies. Specifically, my favorite kids movie, which is The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, dope.
That's the main one that I remember having because I watched it all the time. But yeah, my mom used to I think she used to collect Disney movies. So we had all of the Disney, the old school Disney princesses and Lion King, Aladdin, things like that. Yeah.
No wonder. See, now Disney movies, they're very well made, and the soundtracks are well chosen. Like mine, if I may share, was Aladdin. I loved Aladdin because the poor boy, and the rich girl. But the cave and the flying carpet and stuff, but the music really made it. And cartoons aren't what they used to be.
No.
They're just not. It's kind of sad when I think about it.
All the good old days.
So, remind me, we're both around 30, right? 30, early 30s?
I just turned 32.
So okay, yeah. We're around the same age.
Yeah.
And that's really going to help, too, because we can connect kind of in some of the memories that we're sharing. But was there one or two scenes, growing up as a child you can name a movie or a specific scene in that movie that really affected you emotionally, that made you just see it and you thought about it at night, you want to go back to that movie, and you were just like, it really had its toll on you. Anything really?
Yes, but I did not want to go back to the movie. Right. So it was called Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't remember it.
Spoiler alert, the two dogs die at the end, right? And that was the first time I ever had an emotional reaction to a movie. And I don't know why I remember this, but I was sitting up in a recliner, except I was on the bottom part. I wasn't even on the top part. I may have been laying down. I don't know. But basically one dog, I don't remember any of the movie, but I remember a dog dies and it's super sad. And then the other dog who's still alive, goes missing, and they find it on the grave where they're buried the other dog, and he just died next to the other dog. I was like, what am I watching right now? That was the first time I ever cried during a movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? So yeah, that's that one. So I will never watch it again.
How did it
but
make
it was the first one that gave me an emotional reaction like that.
So it made you pretty sad. How old were you?
7? Between 6 and 8, probably, somewhere around there.
That's the age where I tend to have a lot of memories of different things. And, it's crazy that, those kind of things wouldn't affect us, as adults as much. I'm not sure if we're desensitized or if it's the fact that we've seen a lot of related scenes. But, yeah, mine was in The Lion King when the stampede's cleared. And he's like, Dad, and he's all crying and stuff.
Yeah.
What are they trying to do to us with these kids? But emotions are super important, and you know, we live in a society where people are afraid to feel and don't quite know how to process emotions, and so they'll either put it on the back burner or just ignore it completely, and think everything's fine, but then it'll come out later. And I mean,
going back to that, a Goofy movie, I see it so much different now than I did as a kid. Right, as a kid, I'm on Max's side. Like, oh my gosh, Dad, chill out. Like, you were all up in Max's business, right? Now, as an adult, when I watch it, I'm like, Max needs a spanking. Like Max is something else. He is such a jerk to his dad, who just wants to spend time with him, you know, because he thinks he's losing him. And so, like, it's just funny. That's another like emotional thing. Like when I watch it, it's the opposite now. Because now I'm like, Max, if I was your dad, you'd be grounded.
that's
You're
one
not
of
going
my
to any concerts.
not going to any concerts, but we both know that wasn't true. Dude, so
to Los Angeles.
That movie affected me. I'm glad you mentioned that one, because that scene in the school assembly rocked my world. And because like I was always the dude in school that like had a crush on a girl but was afraid to do anything about it. So seeing stuff like this, right?
Principal Laser.
Ready for it?
Oh yeah.
For summer vacation. We don't want to waste our free time
Hang on.
shopping or visiting friends.
When I'm in the car with my daughter, I will play.
There, Bobby.
Yeah.
That attitude, you guys.
I want to, as a musician, cover this song.
He's out. He's gonna nuke.
She gets down, man.
Does she? Oh.
Some people
We're watching
say
McCormick react to his childhood right now.
you just had that, like right there. You're just ready for it.
Some people settle for the
every time. See, I know all of these songs, and it's ridiculous.
If I could make you stop and take a look at me instead of just there's nothing that I would do if it was getting you to notice.
Dude, now that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Dude, so you're a fan of the Goofy movie, dude. This is awesome.
Yes, of course I am.
You should do reaction videos. I saw you grooving over there.
Oh, I had all the words.
Dude, and then Eye to Eye, like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So, okay. I want to pick your brain on the consumer experience, because right now I was just able to type in Goofy movie on a website, click play, show the world through another screen. Whatever happened to the physical movie? Didn't we used to, like, can you talk about some experiences you had, memories you had, like maybe going and checking out movies, or with family, or with a girlfriend or something? Like, it's all different now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it was like Blockbuster, but we stopped going to Blockbuster because Blockbuster kind of got like expensive. It was like $5 or $6 to rent a movie, and then like you get late fees and stuff.
Oh,
and then Family Video was around, and Family Video was always like way cheaper. So we always would check out Family Video. I'd go there to rent like, video games. Like going to get a physical copy was pretty nice. And but then Netflix came pre-streaming. They did the DVDs. I don't know if you remember that, but Netflix was a website, and you basically order the DVD movie, and then I think it was within 30 days you send it back, and then you can get another one. So it wasn't the streaming, but it was still Netflix, to where they just made getting the DVD more convenient to the consumer, to where they don't have to go out. Like, who wants to go out? I feel like, I mean, we're all lazy Americans now. So just having a movie sent to our house, like, so that kind of changed the game for sure.
I gotta ask, because I think you look really cool in your movies, and I always admired the dark around your eyes. Are you willing to admit if that's makeup or not?
It's not. I have really dark, like
That's
around
so cool.
my eyes.
That's
Uh,
dope.
if anything, they actually try to lighten them up
Do
because
they?
they're so dark. Yeah. My
Yeah, 'cause,
dad has he's like these long, like overhanging eyebrows where you look angry when you're not. Like I'm just looking at you, but I look mad because I got my eyebrows out so far. But yeah, nope. This is all. I wish it was different. I try to remove the darkness and wrinkles every day.
no,
Maybe one day.
I think it really made the I did a promo today for our interview, and the first scene where it fades from black and you're in that office and you look
Mhm.
up. I totally thought I saw the dark and I was like, dude, that's really cool looking. So
So that was shot. Is that Healing Embers?
Healing Embers, yes.
Yeah. So that was shot for a 48-hour film festival, which means we had 48 hours to come up with the story, shoot it, edit it, and send it in. So there was no makeup person. We were just kind of winging it. So I was actually really happy with how that turned out, since everything was done within 2 days, and I was really happy with it. It's one of my favorites.
I'm very surprised because I have a lot of when we get to talking about your movies, I have a lot of thoughts about that movie.
Okay.
I 2 days. That's crazy, but it turned out really well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all credit to the director, Tanner Havens, because he and the other actor, Colin Crick, had to edit it, and because because it was in Detroit. We shot it in Detroit, and I had to be up at 7 in the morning because I had to be home at a certain time. So I couldn't stay up all night with them and edit it because they could sleep the next day, and I couldn't. So I actually didn't really have much to do with the editing, at the beginning of it. But then, when I woke up and it was all done, I was super stoked. I loved it.
That movie that right there is I when I see it I think of the word liberation.
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
I that's how I feel when I watch
Mm-hmm.
your movie. And you don't always get to tell actors how you feel when you watch their movies, but I get to now, and I'm thankful. Liberation, because there were a lot of things that seemed like they were unsaid. Well, why don't you give us the run through of the big idea of that movie?
Okay, so Healing Embers, which actually we're in the process of turning it into a feature film, a full length hour and a half, movie. But Healing Embers is essentially two estranged brothers come together through the passing of their father and the gift he left behind for them. So that's the synopsis right there.
Am I allowed to give any spoilers? Because there's certain parts in this that I really resonated with. Probably not. So liberation.
Maybe.
I'll do it in an abstract type of way.
Okay, perfect.
There's a part in there where I sensed that there was broken relationships. There were broken relationships that came together, and when someone dies, I guess recently in my family, when someone had passed away, it, whether you wanted to or not, it kind of brought people together.
Yeah.
Because there are things that have to be done when someone dies, whether it's the will or whether it's the gifting or medical treatment, just before them passing away. It brings people together, and so when I was watching that short film, it reminded me of my family situation. That you can't always control those things, but towards the end of the short film, I had a smile on my face because they found a way to turn something broken into beautiful, and it didn't have much to do with what people would think it would have to do with, which is a material thing. It had to do with kind of a reconciliation of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that was super, super meaningful. It's a deep film, dude. I hope that becomes the hour and a half.
Yeah. So that one was in an international film competition, which means everyone from all around the world can submit for it, and they did. And so we actually got selected top 15 in the entire world to go out to Los Angeles and watch it at the Directors Guild of America, which is where a lot of people play their big movie premieres, which is really, really cool. And when we were there, we won for best editing, which was really cool. And then we were runner-ups for best supporting actor. Colin Crick, never acted before, killed it, did so good. Directing and film, which means that we were probably like second place. We didn't win for best, but we were probably number 2 out of the entire world, which is really, really a cool experience to go there, have a red carpet event, and then like they play your movie on this like gigantic screen, and then they have like an award show right after it, which is really, really awesome.
Dang. That does sound awesome. Any other memories from that night?
Yes. I mean, there are so many. So like just going there, being there, and then when you walk in, you realize Steven Spielberg has premiered his movies here, right? And that's like such like an amazing feeling. And then when you go and you're watching it, so for me, I don't necessarily like watching myself. I like watching the final product because like you've worked hard on it, right? And you want to see, you know, the final thing. But I don't necessarily like watching myself. So as soon as like the movie starts like playing, I'm like way down here, like, you know. But people loved it, man. We got a lot of claps, and the judges loved us, and the short film, and yeah, maybe not us, but they loved the short film, you know, which was a testament to the creativity of all the filmmakers, specifically Tanner, the director.
May I ask why you don't like to watch your own movies? Because it appears that you're not alone here. There are Johnny Depp admits to not watching his own movies.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Eisenberg, Angelina Jolie, Harrison Ford, Nicole Kidman. And, you know, with the Johnny Depp thing, I watched an interview, and he had his reasons for not watching his own films. What are yours?
Judgments, which is good, but it's also bad in a sense where, like...
You judging yourself?
I'm judging myself, right? So it's good in the sense where I can see where I need to get better, okay? But it's also bad because nobody judges you as hard as yourself, right? So I'm watching myself, and there have been so many times, like, okay, I mean, it sounds bad because I'm an actor and I do it and a lot and I love it and I jump on any opportunity I can. But I'm constantly like, oh, I could have did better right there. But then other people are like, no, you did really good. I was like, you didn't think that part was bad? No, I thought it was fine. I didn't notice anything. So like there are things that maybe other people aren't judging as harshly as I'm judging myself. So that's, and like, I played a short film, Lucky, that I directed. And that was like the most nerve-wracking for me. Because I mean, I directed it too, but I wrote it. And it's a comedy. And I think the comedy is hard to resonate with the viewer, right? And I'm sarcastic, and like I can do dumb funny, like dry humor. That's my thing, you know. I love it. And so when I write something and I put it for people to see, if nobody laughs when they're supposed to, I will be crushed, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, because I was waiting, I was like, okay, that's not supposed to be funny, like, are people laughing, you know? And then it happens, I'm like,
because you like, that's your plan while making it, was like, I hope everyone shares this emotion with me.
yes.
And there's a valid fear of that not happening, you know. And
Yeah.
to be in the room with critics, I can't imagine that, dude. But
Luckily,
as a musician,
everybody laughed when they were supposed to.
Did they?
Yes, everyone did. So I was like super nervous, but everybody laughed when they were supposed to. Everyone enjoyed it. Like, I mean, nobody would tell me, hey, that movie sucked, right? But I had a lot of like people appreciated the movie and what it was, and that like it was family friendly and funny. So yeah.
It was the one that I had almost 200 story views on. So more story views with Lucky than any of the other. I'm not sure what that's based off of, or like if it was the thumbnail that they clicked or whatnot, but that seemed to hit home more with a lot of people. I actually prefer, I like that movie, but I prefer you in a serious role, just because I guess that's maybe projecting off my own emotions. Is like, man, how can I use this actor to fit my own needs? Like, you need to be in a drama to spruce up my living room for my date night or whatever. That's kind of awkward. But in case people don't realize when you're supposed to laugh in that movie, it's definitely when he was born without nipples and the doctor pulls up the Sharpie.
That was improv, actually. Eric Orive was my doctor, and was the guy playing the doctor. And so the cord was wrapped around it, like, the story about Lucky is about a guy named Lucky who has really bad luck. And one of the first lines is, matter of fact, when I was born, I didn't even have nipples, which is actually a true story to somebody who I know. They were so premature that they weren't born with them, right? And so the parents were like, uh-oh, that's not good. And so that's actually like I didn't know if that was a thing, but that's actually a true thing, which I didn't know that could happen. So I threw that in there just because I thought it was like kind of bad luck, And then the doctor had a pen, and so when he because it's a voiceover, I can't think of the word. Yeah, whatever, voiceover, and he's like, matter of fact, I was born without nipples, and then the guy holding him the doctor goes,
oh, and then it's like, but they grew back, don't worry, right?
yeah. And so the guy who's playing the doctor actually pulled out the pen, did that, drew them on it, completely off book, off script, and it was just amazing. It was so amazing.
That's a memory I'd love to carry with me if I were, a filmmaker and actor. Like, that's the thing I like about the music is like things that no one knew about the process that me and just my close friends can laugh about that were involved. That sounds like one of those moments where it's like, how did you guys hold it together?
we didn't. So that shot it's called MOS. So it means that there was no sound playing. So he could do that and we could laugh, and there's no sound during that shot at all. So
MOS, what's MOS?
I can't remember what it stands for, but MOS. So when you're shooting, you got a sound guy with a boom mic holding it up over, and maybe a lapel mic, just to get the audio, usually of dialogue. But if there is no dialogue, then it's MOS, meaning that there is no sound at all. So all the sound that goes.
Is it mute? Maybe mute on set or something?
I don't know. I'll have to. I'm actually. I'll look that up right now.
Mute on. It's gotta be mute on set.
Let's see.
I'm guessing.
MOS. It is said that acronym starts for mit out sound.
Mit out sound.
Or minus optical sound. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. So as you so where were you at in life when you and thanks for sharing about Healing Embers and Lucky. Where were you at in life when you decided when you started acting, and why'd you do it?
Okay, so I actually started out in church plays when I was like 7, when I was like a real little kid, and I loved it, and I mean, nobody's critical of church play acting, right? And I just enjoyed it, and I thought I was pretty good at it, and I hate like sounding like braggy, but like people would compliment me on it, and so like I was like, okay, like all right, like am I good at this, and so like that's just how I was thinking. I had fun with it. And then in middle school I was in another play, and then at the end of it, one of the popular kids walked up to me and was like, you were so great, you were easily the best part of that. And like that was the moment where I was like, I could be an actor. So that is like, and so that's when I started like thinking about it kind of seriously, but I didn't really take it seriously until after I graduated high school. Because during high school I focused on like sports and things like that. But then theater acting and film acting is like completely different, because theater acting, you want to go over the top, you want to play to the audience, right? The bigger whatever you're doing, the bigger reaction, things like that.
Okay.
Whereas in a film, you want to be as real as possible. If you overact, it's not going to be real. It's going to take people out of the experience. So I really had to dumb down like theater acting to film acting. And I actually started one of my best friends, Colin Thomas Nichols. He went to a school out in Detroit, and we used to make stupid little short films together, but nothing serious. But he went to a school called Motion Picture Institute out of Troy, Michigan, and he was casting something, and we always worked together just in stupid things. So he asked me to come out and be on his film set. And so I did it, and I remember thinking that I was garbage. I remember being like, oh my gosh, I was like, okay, so this is way different, and I'm not good at it. But then the final day of the last night, one of the other guys walked up to me, his name was Steven, and he's like, "Hey, you did really good. Do you want to be in my short film?" And I was like, "What? Really?" And so from that, I got a job on that set, and from that set, I got a job on another set. Like, I don't know, like, what happened, but that's where that like meant a lot to me, because not only did it mean like I'm decent enough, you know, to do a good job, but it was like I'm good to work with, which is more important to me. You know, I don't want to be a diva or an arrogant narcissist. You know, I want to be somebody who people enjoy working with, and it's very important to me. So when things like that happen, it means a lot. And then it also is just in a boost to my confidence in my abilities, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you bragged, and you weren't trying to brag, but I'm glad you opened up about that, because actually one of my rough drafts of the interview, I was going to ask you, were there people around you that were complimenting you? And the reason I asked is because sometimes we don't understand, like we can't see our callings and what we're going to succeed in until there's people around us that are pointing it out. And I think it was so cool that the most popular kid pointed it out to you. I would have freaked out in that moment, just because like in high school for me, I was picked on, and that's why I liked that Goofy movie scene. It's like to finally shine and to really make something of myself, because, you know, I believed I had low self-esteem, you know, in high school.
Mhm.
So looking for those moments here and there where I can actually pop out. So that was actually inspiring that you shared that.
And the only like I said, I'm my own biggest critic. So the only way I'm knowing if I'm doing good is hearing it from others, because I can't make that judgment myself.
Yeah.
You know, so like if I'm getting other jobs, then I'm like, okay, like I can do this. And acting is so up and down. I didn't do anything 2 years ago, like COVID was a thing. And then so I was like, boom, I was out of it. And then I was on 2 film sets, and at one was like a training exercise for a corporate video or something. And I walked to the director at the end. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I don't feel like I did very well. And I was like, this is my first time on set for a while. Like I just didn't feel like at home like you want to. So I apologized, right? And then I was on another set, and the same thing happened. Like I was scrambling my lines, like I was just kind of not in the moment. But then from those 2 being back on set, the next time I was back on set, I was like, okay, like I'm comfortable again. So it's like it's very up and down. I don't remember what we're talking about, or why I got going on this story. But
Oh no, go roll with it, because
what was your question?
well, I wanted to mention there's 2 things that I relate with you on, if that's okay. The first one a while back was being super critical of yourself,
Oh yeah.
being super critical of myself, because that's my way of improving. And it's hard when people tell me, hey, stop beating yourself up, because I don't think I'm doing that. I think I'm actually trying to coach myself to be better and better and better. So it helps me feel less alone, you know, when other people share that that's their process too. The other thing is, you know, as a musician, I used to do the 4-hour acoustic gigs after all the restaurants closed in Michigan, and I went to do my first 4-hour gig. Like I used to not look at any sheet music, not look at any lyrics, and I can do 102 songs was my set list, without looking at anything. And so I come back after COVID, and I'm stumbling my words, and my fingers are hurting and stuff, and that actually contributed to my decision to stop the bar gigs. But man, what a like wrench in the bicycle wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Like COVID, the whole shutdown, man. So I'm really interested. This might be a cliche question, but I have to ask it because I want to know.
Ask all the questions. This is fun.
And this is my channel. So,
all right.
which actors or actresses have inspired you, and what do you admire about them?
All right, so I can think of 2 right off the bat. Number 1 is Jim Carrey, because he's Jim Carrey. Dumb and Dumber, like The Mask, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of my favorite movies. And not only that he can do comedy, but when he moves over to drama, he's absolutely fantastic. so Jim Carrey, for that reason, I mean, he's hilarious, and you know, uh, yeah. So him and this is an odd one, but Shia LaBeouf, both Shia, whatever,
Hey,
Shia, Shia
Shia LaBeouf.
LaBeouf, and the reason isn't necessarily, maybe it is because of him. So I remember in Transformers, the first Transformers was like, I watched it and I was like, I can do this. Like, I could be an actor, you know. And Shia LaBeouf is so fantastic. I think he's insanely underrated. So I doubt I could do as good as Shia, but still, like, I have him to thank for making that movie like fun and kind of driving me to like want to be there, which is a really odd one. Transformers, which is like, Michael Bay is known for. I like Michael Bay movies, but don't tell the film community that.
Why do you think he's underrated? Do you think it is because he started out on Disney? Does that happen to a lot of people when they jump into the kids movie world and then they try to make it big in the adult scene? Not just like not that adult scene, but like Transformers versus like even Stevens on Disney.
Yeah.
Like when you try to step out and do Hollywood films, like, do you think there's a challenge there for them?
I'm sure there is, because a lot of the people will need to shed their Disney selves, right? And so I bet that transition is not easy, because you are like, oh, the kids grew up watching me be a doofus and just acting all weird, and now I gotta go to this, I gotta become an adult, and be an adult
in front
actor.
of everybody. Yeah.
And but also, I mean, he had some like issues, like outside of like movies, and so I think that kind of put like a little bit of a damp around what people think of him. But as far as just acting, I think he's so phenomenal. I think he's underrated for sure.
Yeah, I'm remembering a lot of his scenes now. I like the movie he did with Brad Pitt. I can't think of the name of it though.
Fury.
Yeah, those are the scenes I'm remembering. I mean,
and he did so good in it.
I just see him contemplating, like he's got that serious face. Yeah. So Jim Carrey, Shia LaBeouf, anyone else? And you said so. Eternals. What was it? The Spotless.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Is that the one where? No, that was 7. I'm thinking of 7. Is that the one where he's? Tell me about that one.
It's him and essentially he meets this girl, and eventually they're getting their memories erased from each other, and I don't know how. I don't really know how to.
Well, just that sentence right there makes me want to go watch it again, because breakups and things like that in my life, like what do you hold on to and what don't you mentally, right? Like, because some of it was happy.
Yeah.
And so that's also I love those kind of movies, man.
Now I gotta find the actual.
So you prefer playing in comedies?
When their relationships turn sour as a couple undergo a medical procedure to have each other erased from memories. So it's exactly what I said.
Nice.
Sorry, what was your question?
No, so you had said that you prefer being in comedies, or you think you're more talented at being in comedies? I forgot to show you what shirt I'm wearing, by the way.
Is that from Home Alone?
Yeah.
So it's different, right? Okay, so comedy sets are so much more relaxed than drama sets. Comedy sets are like, if you goof up or you can add more lib, like you can ad lib, make things more funny. You have a lot, in my experience, you have a lot more freedom to kind of play around with things with comedy. Whereas drama, like everything needs to be kind of set. Like you don't want to ad lib too much. You don't want to take away, from what the writers have created. I mean, that's probably not always true, but like in my experience, like this, it's it's like that, but it's also the sets are more quiet, like off book. Because I'll tell you about a bad experience I had. I was on a film. I don't know if I want to say it because I don't want to like call anyone out. But so the scene called for me to be emotional. I'm supposed to be crying, and so that takes a lot to like get into that form of and get in that mindset. And so I was sitting there in this room, and I'm working on it. Right, I'm getting the tears up, and I'm like about to get them. And then the DP, who's the director of photography, he's the camera guy. Him and the first AD, which is the first AC, first assistant cameraman, they're like walking in to get their shot right, but they're making jokes and they're like being funny, which completely like takes out of my mindset, to a point where I was just kind of like, when we were ready to shoot, I was out of it and I couldn't get back in it. But that's where like drama, like the sets aren't as fun per se, because like in those scenes, everybody has to be on the same page. One of the things that they do a lot is like when they call cut, anybody around the camera is supposed to look down. They're not supposed to make eye contact with the actor, because then it can throw them off a little bit.
Dude,
So
this is oh, go ahead. I'm caught up on the you making yourself cry. I mean that's like finish your story, because I got a question about that.
okay. But yeah, so basically I don't necessarily prefer comedy. I feel like comedy comes easier for me, but I actually don't get a lot of comedy roles. I get more drama roles. And drama roles are also really fun for me because they're more challenging, because you have to get in that frame of mind. It's not just going in and like having fun. Like it's going in and being a different person, and going through those bad experiences or whatever the drama may be. Right. So yeah, so it's not that I prefer one to the other. It's that they both have different advantages and both have different disadvantages.
And so you have an awareness of that, and it's helpful to have an awareness of that as you pursue different roles then.
Yeah.
Now the making yourself cry thing, I've got to believe that is it's a gift that can be used in your personal life too, right? Like to control your emotions. Like, so do you, because when I talk about music, when I would go into the mental health clinics and talk about music to the patients, I would say that when we can go to a song and that song can influence our mood, or if we just passively let music play around us and we're not in control of that, that can influence us to feel a certain way. Or we can go to it to control our mood, or we if we're not careful, it will. You can it's either a thermostat or a thermometer. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So, the reason I mentioned that is like to be able to. Do you find it helpful to be able to like control your emotions? Like when you're doing movie work, are you able to control your emotions, or have you been harnessing like? Is it ever a struggle to keep it?
It is a struggle. So me in my personal life, I'm not a dramatic person. I'm not an emotional person. I keep everything in check for the most part. If something's bothering me, I keep it bottled up. Like that's just me. Like I'm not open. And one of the things about being an actor is when you are on set, what can be difficult is letting that go, because you need to be able to let go. You can't hold everything in. You got to let it out. And so that can be a struggle, because you really have to get into the character. You have to like know the backstory. And when you're like waiting for them to say cut, you need to like be prepared. And so that, I feel like I've gotten better at that over time.
I can't imagine the cut thing and being prepared. Like I don't ever pay for studios because I can't. I would pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, because I can't prepare myself for someone else's expectations. I can't. It'd be hard to work under a director, I feel like.
That's the great thing about all of the directors I've worked with, really, is that they understand that everything is a collaboration. Like the movie isn't getting made without the cameraman. The cameraman isn't getting made without the actors. Like they all need to be on the same page if they want to make a good movie. And so directors every director I've had is very much, they want to know what I think, right? and I want to know what they think. I want to know what their vision is, and they can ask me what mine is, and then we can talk about it, collaborate. Ultimately, the director's decision is the director's decision, and that's fine. But every director I've ever worked with has always been open to suggestions. And what, like I was on a film set for it's going to be a web series. I don't know how much I can talk about that one. But I actually had to dye my hair red for it. Anyway, so I was on this one, and at the very end, at the end of my scene, they were like, the end of my character in the show, and they're like, okay, so I was like, okay, what do you want me to do after the two characters leave and I'm just here? And they're like, what would your character do? I was like, they do this. And they're like, all right, do that, you know? And so like, it's not always like, sometimes they trust the actor, like they have to trust the actor, you know what I mean? And everyone has to trust each other in order to make something great.
That's awesome, dude. Like, that was the very next question I had. I was going to ask you, like, about the relationship between reality and make-believe, and if you've been able to harness it. Like, in other words, like, how can emotions from your personal life help or hurt your performance on set? And so you had said that, like, you know, sometimes you have to, like, let those things go. Are there times where you've gone into making a movie and you've been able to harness an emotion you're feeling and actually portray that in a film, even though you were really feeling that in real life?
Like I'm feeling something in real life. Like,
yeah, like, for example, you know, you went through a breakup,
okay,
and now you're filming a breakup, or
okay,
but redirect that, you know, like, have you ever been able to bring an emotion into that, and like
based
something
off of
like something when you make yourself cry, are
Mhm.
you focusing on things that are actually really sad in your personal life, or you don't
um
have, that's what I mean about, like, harnessing an emotion and bringing it over from the real life to make believe.
I have done that where one of my first times having to cry on film set. um I was getting the watery eyes, but I wasn't getting the tears, right? Because they're two different. Like it's harder to get the tears, and so I was talking to the actress I was working with, and she was like crying, and then she said that she's remembering someone in her past who's died, and so then I was like, okay, like dang, that's like a
Wait, she was
that's
just crying because she had to, like, she
yeah,
was.
yeah. In the film, she was supposed to cry, and I was asking her like, how are you doing that? Like, you know, and then she told me what she was doing. And then, so I started thinking of my grandpa who passed like years and years and years ago. Um, but, uh, but that definitely, you know, helps. So sometimes you have to bring real life, emotions and things that you remember feeling into that character.
Which makes it even harder to be in a room with critics, right? Because you're becoming naked for people.
Yeah.
You're
Like
literally
you have to be so vulnerable, and
vulnerable. Yeah.
that's a challenge too. That's one of, like, I need to let go of things and become vulnerable. And yeah, so
Yeah, the reason I use the word naked is because I heard someone describe marriage as people get naked like 4 different ways. They get naked financially, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. But becoming vulnerable, like, in order to produce your best product. And so you almost have to be content with the reason why you're doing it, right? In order to shut off the fear of disappointing other people.
mhm.
Is that the case? Like, have you finished a product and were able to be like, you know what? Um, this was therapeutic for me and it was worth it no matter what anyone says. Is that kind of a place that you hope to be a lot?
I don't think I've been anything that I would consider uh, therapeutic, and I think that's just because how I am in real life. Like I don't let a lot affect me. I don't get emotional. I'm not dramatic, you know. So I have had it where I've been so in character that the next day I'm missing the person who I was the last 4 days, and I'm sad. Like
Mm.
I've had that happen, and that's a weird sensation for real. And
But you've never like unintentionally processed like an emotion on the set that you didn't know how to
needed.
process in real life or something?
No, I haven't actually.
That's cool. That's cool, dude. That's all right. So, can you talk to us a little bit about method acting and some of the other acting types that people or that you've experimented with?
Yeah. So I have tried method acting, and that's a little more different, but you definitely feel more of that character. So when I decide to method act, it is with my deeper characters, the characters who I need to feel. And I don't like method act for weeks on end coming up to it, but like first day on set, like I'll try to be that character for the next 4 days or however long I'm shooting for. And that was one where I was saying that I was kind of sad that I missed the guy I was, like the guy who I was the last 4 days, is because I stopped being him, but I truly felt like him. And he was he was a very emotional person, and he was like vulnerable. I wish I could remember what film it was, but I definitely remember like being like, whoa, like that's pretty crazy. But then with things like comedy, I feel like I can just walk in. I don't necessarily need to feel that character, as long as I have bits and pieces of that character who I can mend my own personality with. Then I feel like I don't necessarily need to, because I love humor, sense of humor, like anything funny, like I'm all about it. My friends, I laugh 1,000 times a day. So getting into a character who's supposed to like make people laugh resonates with me more. So I don't necessarily need to get super deep into a character.
Yeah. This is fascinating. I didn't think about a lot of the emotional attachment and the discipline involved in the mindset. And so I've worked in the mental health department, and but I also understand the idea of royalties. Like, so royalties for a song is like something that I'm guaranteed back as it's residually being enjoyed. Now, in the movies, obviously there's royalties and things like that, but I wonder about the mental health of the actor. Like, is there something in Hollywood that looks after actors, like a free counseling session or something for people that aren't as good as you are at like separating emotions, and people that might actually get lost in their emotion and it might affect their home life or whatnot? Is that, do you see that in contracts at all, that the filming companies would be responsible for any psychological problems?
I've not in anything I've been on. I've never seen that before. And I can't answer. I have no idea if they have something like that.
It seems like it would be helpful for sure, because I mean, you have to do it in order to produce your best product. But I mean, for people who miss that person that they were, or can't ever get in touch with that again, I mean, that can cause. I come from a background of bipolar and schizoaffective disorder, so like it just reminds me of a lot of the counseling sessions I've had where they're trying to get me in touch with this person. I mean, in touch with who I was at this point and that point, and yeah, it's becoming very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, dude.
Yeah. Nope.
So as we come on to talking about being so into the roles we're playing, it makes me think of a situation that happened years ago that was very tragic, and I'm hoping that to get your thoughts on the situation. Do you remember when Heath Ledger had passed?
Oh yeah.
How did that impact you as an actor?
So I watched The Dark Knight 7 times in theaters. Right. And yeah, and so I loved the character of the Joker. That's still one of the best acting I've ever seen. It made me respect Heath Ledger so much, like, more as an actor. Because when I found out he was playing the Joker, I was like, Heath Ledger as the Joker? Okay. And he just went crazy on that role, and my mind was so blown with it. And then, like, holy cow, how can you put forth that great of an acting performance? And then you find out all the struggle and like things that he had to go through, like in his own mind, and with the different like pills to like try to help him, you know. And so it impacted me in a way to where I'm always conscious of who I am. Like, I will never get that deep into a role, like, you know. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. Like, I feel like that really brought to light how much method acting can like take out of a person. So it put into perspective how I go about my acting, and how I deliver a performance versus how I separate them both from my real life.
Awesome. Do you have any thoughts on the Robin Williams loss that we all went through?
Oh man. I mean, it's just sad. They say like what is it, like the happiest people are always hurting the most, you know, or something like that. And so like that's so sad. Like, you never would have guessed, you know, what he's going through. So I mean, I guess I don't really have any thoughts other than, you know,
My music,
people
I'm
trying to be
able to hide
open.
behind my music. You know, I can hide behind my music all the time.
Mhm.
If I'm careful and if I'm not careful. I mean, I think it's a helpful art that I have to be able to. I mean, it's therapy for me. So maybe that was therapy for Robin Williams, making everyone laugh. Like Flubber and all that stuff, dude. Growing up, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mhm.
When he had passed, my sister told me, you know, because we both grew up watching his movies, and that quote you had said, what was it again? Like, sometimes the most
The people who are the happiest are hurting the most.
You know, what if we just took that with us every time we left the house, right? Every time we went through the drive-through or bumped into people on Black Friday in the supermarket, like, everyone's fighting a battle that you don't see, you know? And but we got to see what we thought was his whole life, right? Like, do people think they know actors? Like, do the people just think they know so much about you just off your films?
Yeah. There's I mean, perhaps. I feel like I've never played a character who is so opposite of me to where people are like, wow. Like, there are people who, if I'm playing a jerk and people hate me, I love it, right? But the problem is, a lot of these because I'm doing my job, you know, your job is to hate me. But a lot of these viewers don't, like, a lot of the viewers can't separate the actors from their roles. And so I feel like that takes a toll on people as well. You know,
Well,
I wish I could think. There was definitely some people who I know, like, I've seen.
So to take action or to do something, to behave in a way specified, to take effects, to have a particular effect, perform this one right here. These definitions of act. Perform a fictional role in a play, movie, or television. So Denzel Washington is my favorite actor, and his method is that he picks roles that suit who he is as a person.
Mhm.
So how does that even does that change the definition of acting, or does it not? Because I mean, to act, don't you have to pretend to be someone you're not?
So when you act, you generally, no matter what you act in, you're not yourself, because the character isn't you. So a lot of the times the directors will pick actors who have similarities as the character that they drew up.
Like personality wise, not just aesthetic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I'm in a movie coming up called Marriage, and
Nice.
and I'm married, you know, and the story is about a man who's married, and they're kind of going through some stuff. So you can look at me and say, oh, Cameron's married, and I'm sure he's gone through stuff with his wife, so he would fit that character. But that is a different character. It's not me, even though we share some similarities, you know.
You can't take out the trash, or you always spill the milk on Fridays in the movie, and someone sees your wife in the supermarket. They're like, I'm so sorry about your husband's milk problem, and like that he won't take out the trash.
Yep.
What about I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of taking a different direction here. Because we talked a lot about what happens on the set, you know, with the boom mic, the MOS setting and stuff. Any thoughts on the Alec Baldwin accident that happened?
Oh, so many things were wrong on that set. There are health and safety protocols that were clearly not followed. Obviously, like, I wasn't there, but there's always supposed to be a prop guy, like prop people double checking the guns. You're never supposed to carry around a prop weapon, like, and you're never supposed to point it at anybody, right? So there are so many things that went wrong. Like, it should have happened. Like, it is a professional film set. These things should have been accounted for. It's really sad. I actually am friends with a lot of people who have worked with the director of photography who passed away. And so, like, hearts are broken because of, what's the word? Incompetency? That's not the word I'm thinking of, but I mean that too, you know.
Improper protocol or something, like, kind of like that, like irresponsible.
I have the word. I'll never get it,
effortlessness and like carelessness.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, so, like, you know, there are so, like, you look at a movie and you see all the credits. You see there's a ton of credits in every big movie, you know, and so somebody is in charge of that, and someone failed their job, and because of it, someone's hurt now. Someone, like, a lot of people are hurt, and someone is, you know, not with us anymore. So my thoughts on that are just that, you know, it's a tragedy. It's really sad, and it never should have happened. Like, as simple as that.
Thanks for opening up about that. The last thing I'll ask of the Hollywood headlines is, not too long ago during the COVID thing, one of the actors that I enjoy watching blew up, in a bad way. There were audio clips and video and still images of him yelling at and cussing at his crew and just like, and I like, it's Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise on the set of his new Mission Impossible movie was just losing his patience with some of his crew. And, it was interesting because I listened to George Clooney's opinion on what had happened. And what do you think about that situation and what might have caused that? Or like,
I would never, ever do anything like that, but I also understand how frustrating it can do when people are on the set not acting professionally. I would never yell or get uptight or scream at anybody. Like, they're humans. People make mistakes. Nobody deserves to get screamed at, especially in front of, like, a bunch of people. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. That's when you take a break, you go and talk to maybe the director, the producer, the crew member you have problems with, and tell them what's going on. I know that I've seen some people lose their minds over, like I said earlier, if there's a scene, the crew behind the camera is supposed to look down, right? And I've seen someone, like, blow up, like, insanely go crazy because they were looking at the actor, right? And so as the actor, you're trying to do your job and be professional, and you look at this guy who's not being professional and doing their job. Well, I can understand the frustration, but everybody's a human, and nobody needs to be talked to like that. That's my opinion. There are absolutely different ways to go about it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Some of the context was, I think, the mask thing. I mean, obviously there's a huge expectation for this mission.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it was about the mask.
Huge expectation for this movie to come out, right? And so, this fear of, like, if someone sees one of you guys not following orders, this whole production is going to get shut down. He says, if I see you doing it again, you're effing gone.
Yeah.
And like, this is a very big movie chain, and so, like, one could sit back and not know a lot about it and think, well, he's just, greedy, and he just wants his movie out and doesn't want anything to get in the way of that. Or someone can say, man, he's just, like, really, really, really trying to follow protocol. Or other people can be like, there's so many different opinions that can arise from the situation.
So during COVID, there were a ton of protocols on film sets. So if somebody wasn't wearing their mask or following the rules, at that point, Tom Cruise might be worried about the safety of others since COVID was going crazy. He could be worried about, like, the health of himself. If somebody catches COVID, that shuts down production for a few weeks. That costs a ton of money, So once again, I understand his frustration if people aren't following protocols that they've signed in their contract, because yeah, that happens. Like, it's going to be in the contract about following mask mandates and things like that. Like, it doesn't matter if you're to or for it, or for or against it, you signed a contract, you have to follow through. So I get his frustration, and once again, I just feel like there's other ways that he could go about it. You know,
Yeah.
I love people, and so I don't think I would ever like condescend anybody like that. So it makes me feel bad for the people who got yelled at. Or at the same time, once again, they could be putting lives at risk. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You know, when I first heard that, my first thoughts were, I mean, I'm not saying, well, he gets paid a lot of money. I'm just saying, well, he gets paid. It's his job. He's got a family to take care of, and there's so much that is at stake here. And I think he was the director of the movie too, right? Of Mission.
I don't think so. I don't think he's ever directed a Mission Impossible. I could be wrong though.
Oh, or maybe producer. Yeah, look that up.
He was probably a producer.
Okay. But you know, he's got a family to go home to, and he's responsible for the food on their plates and things like that. And so I got to believe that there's a tension between, especially with COVID, right? And I didn't even include this in the interview, but the massive, like, I was excited to see a ton of movies that I didn't get to see because COVID happened. Movie theaters were shut down for a long time.
I know.
In fact, yeah.
My job is I'm a manager of a movie theater, so.
Oh yeah.
So I was out of work from March until like October.
Are you back?
Yeah, we've been back for a while.
Dope, dude. So like, I've got this this movie ticket in this huge poster that my friend Chris Legg bought me of Sonic, and we went on February 13th of 2020 to see Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was like it. COVID happened the next month, and I remember going to Wisconsin on a date. No, we went to Chicago. I went on a date with my ex-girlfriend, and the streets were just like desolate, right? And there was a huge movie poster of Sonic, and it had the date on it still, February 14th for some reason. And it's just it's a tragedy, dude. A lot of people, I thought maybe movie theaters were going to go out of business, like they weren't ever going to come back.
There was definitely questions at my theater whether or not we were ever going to open up again.
Well, I'm glad, because I got to go and see Godzilla vs. King Kong. I got to go and see Mortal Kombat, and I've gone and seen the new Fast and the Furious. So those are my last 3 theater experiences.
Nice. How come you never come visit me?
Where are you at?
Holland.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be sure to do that. On Monday, on Mondays, I have the option to go to Holland on Monday nights if I want.
Nice.
So, dude, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for doing this interview. This is really eye-opening.
Thanks for having me. I love talking about movies, and I can talk a lot, and so I feel like people probably get annoyed with how much I just like talk about like specific projects because I get so excited about them. So there's like, give me
people who talk a lot appreciate other people who talk more, because I can be interrupted if I'm not careful. Okay, so let's talk about the daily grind of being an actor and having a family. So you are a husband, right? And you're a father of
2.
2. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
One was just here. One just came into the world like 2 weeks ago. So
is that Isla?
Isla.
Okay.
Yes, Isla. Yep. So that's an experience.
So what is it like? What is it like?
It's tough, okay, because we're tired all the time. So my wife is on maternity leave, and I'm back working my job full time. And so when I come back, my wife might want to break, or I'll take one of the kids, she can take the other one. And so it's hard to juggle that because I'm also getting auditions from my agents and things like that. And so when we get downtime, a lot of the time it's really hard to get the audition in, because auditions are a lot of work. I got to set up my lights. I got some lights over here. Oh, anyway, so you got to like set up lights, and got to learn the lines, because I got to like, you know, ribbit with my wife, because she's always my reading partner. And so like,
awesome.
then I need to like get it to where I'm happy with it, and then I need to edit it and send it in. So it's never easy. You know, I actually had a bunch of auditions that were set to shoot like early October or early November, when my baby was set to be here. So I had to miss out on a lot of auditions. Obviously worth it, you know, for my kid. But I couldn't imagine trying to get, like, I can't imagine because I do it, but it's really hard to get all the auditions in that I'm sent from my agents and, you know, casting calls I see and things like that, you know, because we're always tired. My wife like doesn't always want to read with me, which is absolutely okay, because I don't want to always do the audition, you know, but I have to, you know, so it's a bit of a challenge to, you know, and then everything needs to be quiet. I got 2 dogs, so I need to keep them like away from like their nails hitting the floor, and I can't have my babies crying, so you know they need to be fed or in bed before we can even start the audition. So a lot of times we don't
get hardwood floors.
Yeah, so a lot of our auditions can't start until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night when the kids are asleep, you know, but then it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm a late nighter, but my wife isn't, you know, so she's got to stay up extra, you know, and work with me and make those sacrifices. So yeah, it's a little bit hectic, but it's worth it.
She believes in you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's always got my back. She's always down to read with me. You know, she knows it's important to me, which makes it important to her, which is like, I can't ask for more than that.
That's, you know, I thought of asking you a question about your family earlier on when you said that, you know, two things. Like, you can't really, when someone told me, I asked my friend Brad, I was like, so what's it like being married? And he's like, it's like looking in a mirror that I can't look away from. Like, I can't leave. And I've got constantly, I'm seeing how ugly I am. Like, I'm seeing the worst parts of us are coming out constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like, is that training for you for future sets and how to take criticism or?
Yes. So in this upcoming short film I'm in called Marriage, there's like a fight scene where they're like screaming at each other. My wife and I were pretty calm. We never really get in massive arguments, but we have gotten like, you know, into some heated arguments. Every couple has. We've been married for 5 years, you know, and so I can like take that specifically and like know how I will act in an argument, and I can put that into this movie coming up. So I'm pretty excited to see. I've never had to do like a screaming match with somebody in any films, so I'm kind of excited for that. That sounds really bad, but I'm kind of stoked for it.
Did you seek this out, or did someone find you on the Marriage? Because it's like, it's kind of couched with where you're at in life. I mean, kind of side by side there.
So this goes back to what I was saying about like, I really want to be good to work with, right? And in this past August, no, maybe it was August, I was in a short film called Scones. It was a comedy, and it's called Scones. Yeah. And so it's a short film, but I really, really liked the director. His name's Cam Lewis, and his wife Jenna, and they were awesome. Like, to a point where once filming got done, we became friends. Like, we went over there for dinner, you know, and things like that. Like, I was really, like, they're really good people. And so he asked me, because he's a teacher at Cornerstone, he said, hey, if I have anybody looking for an actor, like, can I point them your way? And I was like, yep, like, absolutely, like, that'd be fantastic. So it looks like these people, I don't know if they graduated, but I don't think they're at Cornerstone anymore, but they asked Cam if he knows any actors, and I was one of the first names he gave him. So I sent them my reel, and they had me do a little quick read through of the role, and so I got cast that way. So that was not necessarily, it was an audition, but it was more like a clarification, you know, like, it was like they gave me the role, but they wanted to make sure I could do it, you know. Yeah. And so I did that, and so I got that role from acting for a director for a previous role, which I love it. That's my favorite.
So are you constantly and carefully building a resume throughout your whole career, basically? Like, you're trying to save the best parts of you, obviously, for future opportunities. Would you say relationships are huge in that industry? Because
Relationships are everything.
I'm recently finding out in the music industry that, like, one, when I went to Nashville and went to conferences, I kept in touch with a lot of these artists. But two, I thought everything had to be done in person, but we're like sending songs back and forth and collabing. And obviously you're doing the auditions in your house. And
yeah.
I did have a question about, no, because you said you went to LA to film Lucky, right?
No, I didn't go to LA to film.
Oh, no. So she's from LA. So I was wondering if any of the shots had been filmed in separate locations. Like I was thinking, what if she just filmed her in the car? And what if he just filmed him looking into the car? Like, did that happen, or am I just imagining things?
She was in Detroit when she was here. Her name's Taylor Alexa Frank. She's fantastic, super nice, great to work with. I'm actually shooting it. I'm directing another short film coming up called First Impressions that I wrote, and I asked her, I was like, "Is there any chance you're going to be in Michigan at this time?" But no, not for that. But there are situations where that happens, but not necessarily in anything that I've been in.
Ideally, though, you'd want to be in the location.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now with the can you explain to us the beginning to end process of making a short film? The connections, the contacting, the scheduling, and all the while, fulfilling your duties as a husband and father.
Oh man. Yeah, so I have to like schedule time out of my day. Like my shower time, like that sounds weird. My shower time is like the most important part of the day for me when I'm trying to be creative, because I can sit in there and just like think. And so a lot of the times, if I'm like a lot of writers will have their own like ways to get their brain working. And so mine is, I can't think of anything. I'm drawing a blank. I'm gonna go take a shower. And for whatever reason, that's where like all of my ideas come from. So that's where so it comes from an idea. Okay, to get the actual like process going, it comes from an idea. Then from that idea, you need a beginning, middle, end. And once you have those, you can, or even just a beginning and an end, you have something to work for.
Chronologically?
Yeah. So I've done things differently where I've listed things that I want to happen in the movie, and then just throw them in, or I've just started writing and then everything kind of came to me as I'm writing. So the first is having the idea, then writing it, and then you need to do multiple drafts because your writing isn't always great. Then the best thing you can do is find somebody who can tell if a story's good. There are people who are like professional screenplay writers who can like look at that and be like, okay, so this doesn't work, and then you don't want any plot holes. So you got to make sure that everything is in it correctly and accurately. And then, so after that is when I usually will try to get my cast crew locations. Locations are crazy important because they're super hard to get a lot of the time. So I'm doing this one called First Impressions, and it's about this girl who's at a bar, and these four guys who are waiting for their final friend to come in. They're trying to pass the time, and so they see this girl, and they're like, hey, first one to get this girl's phone number gets free dinner on guys' night for the rest of the year. So like, all right, bet. So they're each trying to talk to this girl. Basically, the moral of the story is like, don't be a creep. But so for this, I have actors who I can call. I've done enough things to where I know people, which is like crazy important.
Relationships.
Yes, absolutely. That's like what you need. It's all about who you know. It's about your hard work, your talent, and who you know. Like it's crazy. But so from that, I've worked with people. So I contacted the director of photography for Healing Embers, and as I saw her, and so he was going to be my camera guy. My guy, Colin Thomas Nichols, who now is he's a composer mostly, so he does music composing. And then
4 films or just in for his own stuff?
His own stuff and for films. He's phenomenal. And then I would be editing it. And then, so like, I got everybody
Tanner
together.
was the guy from Healing Embers and As I Saw It, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. I made sure to reach out. Made sure to reach out on Instagram. He's a cool dude. I added him.
Yeah. Tanner's great. And so we're the ones who kind of wrote the Healing Embers feature film. And so now we just need to like, we're at the part where we need a budget, and that's the hardest part. So we write it. We kind of got I got my location set. I got my actors who one bailed last minute, and so I had to push because we were supposed to shoot in October. But that kind of went through, so I had to push it back to January, February. And now I need all the equipment, and so whether I'm hiring crew who has their equipment or we need to rent equipment, there's that. And then you got to get all that stuff. You need to storyboard, which is shot for shot, like you need to draw shot for shot. I'm a horrible artist, so I do a shot list. So I write down what I want in words. Like I don't know what to say right here. Words. And so that like gives me and the director of photography an idea of what will work, and then that's when you can collab with the director of photography, the camera guy, the DP, and you can collab what will work and what won't work. And then once you shoot everything, that's the editing, and then you take all the sound out. So all of the sound is put in. Footsteps are fake, like artificial footsteps, artificial doors opening and closing.
Oh, you take all of the camera sound out, just mute all that, and then you put in the sound effect.
Yep, you have to match up the dialogue because that's shot on something completely different. So you need to match up all the dialogue with the shots, take out all the sound, which is called sound design. So you need to put new sound design in, put the score in, edit it, and then for post-production, that's when all that stuff is. And then once you're finally done with all that, you can release your movie.
How do you subtract yourself from the process when necessary? Like, what was really difficult for me, because it sounds like you have experience in editing, you have experience in all of those roles, but you choose to just focus on your lane. Like when I went to Nashville, and they had a guy that they wanted to introduce me to that would produce my music. They wanted a guy to write my music. They wanted a guy to do all of these different things that I've been doing for years as a solo artist. And so I don't say it like in a braggy way. I say it because what have I done to myself? I'm in Nashville at a conference and I can't make friends. So it was really hard for me to subtract myself and try to figure out so basically what I'm doing now is I'm not going to be making my own music. I'm just going to be buying instrumentals because I want to focus on writing. So like, how are you able to like subtract yourself and like you're relying on other people to do a lot of things that you can do? How do you do that? Because you know a lot about editing. You were just explaining it to me.
Yeah.
Now,
I have a lot of people who want to work on films, like especially in West Michigan. There are a ton of fantastic, creative, just amazing filmmakers in West Michigan that don't get a chance to like show their work because there isn't that many films going on around here. So I can call in favors, and they can be favors where I worked on your project for free. Like, hey, I'm doing this project. You want on? And like they're like, all right, like you hooked me up, I hook you up, And so there's a lot of that. And so I am not. So some directors are control freaks where they need everything like there. To me, I want to do what I'm comfortable with. If I feel like somebody else can make the movie better. So if I can find an editor who's better than me, then I will hire them. I hired an editor for Lucky. His name is Chad Ice, like one of the best editors I've ever met. But for this one, I'm doing is a lot lower of a budget. Like all the actors are my friends.
I have to comment on his voiceovers that come in slightly after the next scene starts. I noticed that a lot, and that was when she was pulling into the driveway, and you can already hear him in the jail cell.
Yeah,
those little things make such a huge difference.
And those are things I never would think of, right? So I don't prefer to edit, but if I'm trying to save money, I just want to get this little project done, get me and my friends on a film set, see if any of my friends can act, then get this crew around me who I know can make it look and sound beautiful, right? And so that's where I would prefer to not edit. And like, really the only thing that I'm 100% comfortable with is acting.
That's cool. That's cool.
So
So
directing and writing is like, I've done it before, but it's a little out of my wheelhouse. So I need to work into getting more comfortable doing those things. But as far as allowing other people to take over specific aspects of it, I'm more than willing to. If I know you're good at it, take over, take me out of it. You're better than me and I know it.
I think that's a good dad thing too, right? Like I think that you're going to be a good teacher, allowing them to figure things out on their own, you know. Now, what kind of team? And you've already mentioned the different roles, the positions that they are, but what kind of team, personality-wise, does an actor appreciate having around them in order to produce the best products? I mean, for example, like, is it important to you that you're working with patient people? Is it important that you're working with people that just let things go over their head, like gracious, or they have to be on time? Like, what's important to you in that?
Flexibility. Because so many things, I heard it that there are 3 times a movie gets made or a show gets made. And there's the writer's room, there's on set, and there's in the editing, right? So everything changes. What you write is not going to end up being exactly what the final product is. So it's, I just got distracted. My phone popped up. I need to charge my phone.
Oh yeah.
What was your question?
Did you plug it in? I'll wait for
No,
you to
I got.
All right, right here. I'm.
Okay, sorry. What was the question?
I was just checking the comments, so I can either turn the comments on or off, and they've been off because they're always in front of your face. And I wish there was a way to just slide the comments over, so that they can still comment and I can look at them. But I'm just happy to turn that. It was yeah. What do you appreciate about you'd said flexibility is something that is a quality you look for in the team you surround yourself with.
Yes, flexibility, punctuality.
No,
anybody who just
speaking to that,
like being on time is important. Being where you're supposed to when you're supposed to be there, you know, because if one piece is off, then the film can't be what it is. You know, if you're a sound guy and you're supposed to be there and you don't show up and people are waiting for you, then that's a problem. You know,
yeah.
If you're an actor and you're 45 minutes late and you're all scruffy and not ready for the gig and you just are out of it, like you're, I don't know, hungover from the night before, you know, like things like that, and you just walk in.
You're supposed to play a sober man today, not a drunk man.
But yeah, mainly like flexibility. I would say definitely flexibility, and people with patience. Like you said, there are so many things you want in a film crew. You know, you want understanding, and yeah, I mean, there are so many things you don't want somebody who's going to be angry or slow down production.
Do you guys ever have like, is there a ritual or something that you like to do with your team that kind of gets everyone prepared before the day? Or like, do you guys go out to eat and discuss, like, is it important to you that you guys are all in one spot and that you're all heard and understood or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's something called a table read. So before anything gets shot, all the actors will come in with the director and, sometimes and like producers and things like that. And you do a table read. So all the characters are there and they all read through the whole script together. And through that,
I thought that was just a special thing. I was watching some Cowboy Bebop anime voices do one of those for a 1998 anime.
Yeah, so a lot of the crew will show up like an hour early or before the cast comes in, and that's when they can really kind of discuss things. I'm not 1,000% familiar with the pre-production side like that. For me, I just got everybody. I kind of just talked to my director of photography, and we had the idea, and he kind of set things in motion, and I was he was more than the camera guy. He was like another director, for me. He helped me out a lot. His name was Josh. He was great. But But yeah,
Fundraising. How about fundraising?
fundraising sucks. It's the worst because nobody wants to, give for a movie. Everybody loves their money. Everyone has worked hard for their money. Why am I going to give it to this thing that may or may not be good? It may or may not make me money back. Films aren't expensive, or films are expensive. For a 15-minute movie, for Lucky, I put like $5,000 in myself, and and for other things, like we want $15,000 to film Healing Embers, to film the feature, but $15,000 is a lot of money. And so fundraising is so difficult. So what you want to do is you want to find investors, people who have invested in film, and you can offer them some return. If we make money, you can make your money back plus some.
Is that do the short version so that you can help them believe in it a little bit more?
I think so. Like a lot of times people do pitch videos where they're trying to pitch their product to the investors. And if they like it and they believe in the film, they're paying for you. They're not paying for the film. They're paying because they believe in you. And so getting investors is really difficult, especially over here. Like that's something I struggle with really bad, is because I just don't know any investors. And then also I've posted like Indiegogo, hey guys, we're trying to make $15,000, and then people have donated like 48, but then, and then like I'll post the videos and people will watch it and people will love it, but don't realize what all goes into it. And so, it's like they want to be supportive, but not financially, because then they could be at a loss, which is completely understandable. But that's why before I make anything, I make sure to put money aside, like specifically myself, so that the production isn't at a loss, because I can make up some of the finances, that we need.
Nice. Thanks, man. So the last question I have before we start discussing some of your films in more depth, if we can, without spoiling anything. We talked about your film career, and we talked about your family life. Do you see ways specifically that they are able to complement one another, that they work in harmony with one another? Like, do you have encouragement coming from the family? And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's where like my wife is always helping me read through these roles, even if she's not feeling up to it. She's always making sacrifices because she wants to see me happy. She wants to see me like pursuing my dream and not giving it up. And we've almost moved to Los Angeles again. We've looked at houses in Atlanta because those are really where you need to be successful actors. I mean, that could be wrong. I'm sure there are, instances where that's not the truth, but the truth is that a lot of places won't hire you. Like they'll hire Los Angeles actors, So the family life is that she's very supportive, and she supports me. And then if I'm gone, or I need to be gone for a few days to shoot, she's always, okay, well, we need to figure this out. And she's like never complained ever, so it's great. It's fantastic.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you have that. We talked about Healing Embers. That process you just walked us through, you did that in 2 days?
Yeah.
Normally, how long would it take if you weren't in that Healing Embers situation?
So the film was 7 minutes long, so probably like 2 days. 2 days just to shoot it, but pre-production, shooting, and editing, it would take at least a month, maybe a few months.
Okay.
And what they do is they give you three or four things what you need to put in this, so they know that you didn't write it beforehand. When
did you realize that was the film for you? That's something you wanted to do?
So
was it in the script, or like what really sold you on it?
What sold me was the director, Tanner. We worked together on As I Saw Her, which I got that role because he posted looking for actors, and my friend Colin sent my name to him, and we kind of talked, and he was like, all right, do you want to do this? It was another 48-hour. As I Saw Her was filmed and was shot and edited in 48 hours too. So we shot that, and I really liked working with him, and I loved how As I Saw Her turned out.
You're,
And
you're teasing me, bro. Like, that's the last one we're going to talk about, but that's my favorite one.
oh, okay. Sorry. But basically, once we did that one, we were talking, and he was just like, "Hey, we want to make this one again. Are you in?" And I was like, "Yep." He's like, "We're shooting like in 2 days." I was like, "All right, I'll be there." Yeah. So it was really the director and the ability to act with someone who I know is extremely talented.
That's cool. That's awesome. What about we talked about Lucky, but what about that one? Like, how did that come about? Like, you wrote the script, right? Did you write the script?
Yeah. So I
you
actually wrote it as
you get to act in the movies you wrote.
it's challenging. I don't necessarily recommend it, especially being my first time directing. But I'm really glad I was able to be Lucky. So I actually wrote that as a feature because I was going through some stuff, and it felt like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing after bad thing was happening to me. And it was like, what the heck is going on? Like, will this ever turn around? And so I was like, I'm gonna write this film. And so I wrote it as a feature, and then I was like, when I would tell people, hey, it was a story about a guy named Lucky who has really bad luck, people loved it. They thought it was hilarious. Like, that's clever, you know. So like, is it? Okay, like, sweet, let's do it then. So then I cut it to the 15-minute version. And how I wrote that one was I wrote all these bad things that could happen to somebody that just seemed like nothing good can come of them, right? And then I looked and I was like, what good could come of this guy getting hit by a car? You know, and so I literally took all the bad stuff and tried to flip it around on its head to where, dang, what seems to be so unlucky for this guy turns out everything ends up being a blessing in disguise for him that you don't expect. So that I wrote that for me because I needed to feel like good things were about to happen at that point in my life.
Dude, that's fascinating to me because sometimes that'll happen with the song. I know that happened with a rapper named Andy Mineo, and he said he was going through depression, and he wrote a song that he could care less if anyone liked it, but he wrote the song so that when he hit the stage, he could proclaim that tomorrow is going to be. He was particularly struggling with suicidal thoughts, but he knew that things were going to be okay every time he played this song. So I love being able to use our gifts for ourselves too, right? Like to carry us through, not just for everyone else. Because it's selfless ultimately. Daisy Chain is like, dude, that's close to being my favorite one. You could tell I love the romantic comedies, dude. Like my favorite movie. Yeah. I wanted to go to Grand Valley. I wanted to go to Los Angeles Film School, so I got I went to all of the conventions and got all the materials in the mail to go to Los Angeles Film School. And I wanted to go to Grand Valley Film School, as I was like, okay, what's actually possible so that I can make movies about all my ex-girlfriends. Because I was like, hey, this is a huge database of money-making material here. And I like The Notebook. I like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I like, my favorite ever is Serendipity. Tristan and Isolde, it was awesome. You know, you've got Mail, like all of the romantic comedies I'm really into. And so that's why I liked that. And it was clever. Like, you want to give us the premise of that? Or what's the word premise even mean? Give us the rundown of it. The smack.
All right, so Daisy Chain is about a guy who falls for every girl he sees. That was my character. And his name was Winston. And he owns a coffee shop with his buddy. And every time this... sorry.
I'm laughing because I'm more like that one then now, I guess.
But so every time
funny because it's real.
In, he's like, dang, like I love this girl. And like this girl walks in, her name played by Jordan Burgess, who is also out in Los Angeles right now. She's also fantastic. She basically comes in every day. And my character, Winston, he goes and sees this old lady, Mrs. Doherty, and she's mute. But he just goes and sees her every day or every few days. and they make like origami together. And so basically through origami, she tells him to wait 21 origami daisies before he can talk to her, so he's not rushing into things. So he's waiting 21 days before he's actually talking to her. So he's like, crap, okay. And so that's the premise, is he's trying to wait 21 days to talk to the girl and ask her out.
Yeah, who came up with that?
Who wrote that?
Get in touch with
I don't
them.
know
More of that. Work with them again.
I thought that would be a great feature film. I thought that one would be a really good.
I really think so too. And some of the clips that I used, I tried to use my favorite parts for all of my promos of those films, and I just thought that you did really well in that character. Getting mad at your friend for hitting on anything with two legs. And stuttering, and like the voiceover of like 21 Daisies, and you're like Aristotle. It's just like it's stuff that, just those little things that you throw in there that you don't have to, that really make the character really went a long way for me.
Oh, thank you.
So As I Saw Her is the one I've been wanting to get into. I think I'm most like that, and I don't mean in a creepy way. I just mean like, I loved when it wasn't what he thought. He's like, I got a picture of her, but it's not what he thought, right? So, first of all, it looks like a French film. There's some kind of like high quality grain filter that I'm experiencing that reminds me of like an independent French film. Is that
okay?
Is that on?
What's funny is the other actress, Courtney Parkinson, is actually fluent in French, and she's a French teacher. So it's kind of funny that you'd say that.
That's so cool. Was Tanner going for something like that? I mean, it obviously, it doesn't look like the other ones. There's some kind of feel and filter.
I actually don't know. That was the first time I've worked with Tanner, so there was not a lot of pre-production from the acting part, because it was a 48-hour film festival. We didn't have time to do a read-through or anything like that. So I kind of just went into it like a little blind. I didn't know how talented Tanner was, if he was going to be easy to work with. Like, I think we texted a few times, and I was like, okay, this guy's really cool. And so I don't really know what he was going for as far as the look of it.
Now, I can't remember if this, I think this happened in As I Saw Her, as well as Daisy Chain, where you said something along the lines of, I think I'm in love. I think you said it in, yeah. So, no one's, okay, someone just popped on. I was like, no one's watching, so I can say this, but I'm going to be mass producing this. That's the story of me. Like, I've always had a habit, like having crush on actresses or having crushes on people in high school and being too shy to say things. But what that movie was for me was not just that situation where, because there's a huge, I used to convince myself I knew what love was. And I really did think it was in that moment when I saw somebody. So that really pulled me in and reminded me of a lot of the ways that I operate. But it also reminded me of some of the conversations I had with my friends too. I would always tell my friends, like, dude, you don't even know, like, looking at her profile, I'm like, she's the one, it's the one. And
we haven't even talked about what As I Saw Her was. It's about a guy who basically, he's a photographer, so he's walking around the city taking photos, and he sees this girl, and he takes her picture, which is creepy, and basically
but she was posing.
Yeah, that's true. So he took her picture, and then she like walked out, they made eye contact, he didn't say anything to her, and then she walked away. And so the whole time he's got this picture of her, and he's trying to find her, and he thinks that it's love at first sight, and so he's trying to find this girl. That's
why I like Serendipity, because it's not exactly like it, but the idea of like throughout the rest of the movie trying to find that person, there's a, as I grew older, I would realize that that's not love, but it's fun, and I still would recommend Serendipity or Daisy Chain or As I Saw Her as your next date movie, everybody. But
perfect.
The Greeks had this theology that like you were born as one half. No, you were born and you were split in half. So throughout the rest of your life, you were supposed
searching
to
for the other half.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's kind of like, I think in Western civilization we've kind of adopted that mindset of love, and I guess I can blame the movies that I watched for programming that in me, but it's I liked that one the most just because I really, that's who I'm that's who I am most in real life. I think is that's the creepy dude that thinks he's in love with people.
Looking for the girl.
Yeah. So which character have you played that are you most like in real life, if any?
Oh man, that's a really good question. Hey Tia, what character have I played that is most like me?
I don't know.
She doesn't know either. I have no idea. That's a really good question.
Well, you had talked about how you do less acting in a comedy because that's kind of your personality.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But the person though, like as I saw her was more me because of just the things and the feelings he had. What's going on? Hey.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Probably lucky because I mean it was wrote for what I was going through. So yeah.
Well, it's hopefully not the next one, right? The marriage with all the issues.
Yeah. No, definitely not that one.
Okay, well, we're gonna we got about 12 minutes left, so I'm going to we're gonna open up for a Q&A, but I'm gonna ask you a couple questions before.
All right.
This is
All right.
awesome. This is awesome. I just went on it. I feel like that was an action film right there.
It was. Felt like it.
Man, playtime has to be super awesome with them too, right? Moving the cards around and stuff. Like,
Yeah, she's crazy. She's wild. She likes blocks, like Legos. Like we got these big Legos. That's her thing. Stop in the light. Yeah.
all right, well, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions, and then we'll tell everyone kind of where we can find you. Have you ever felt like you wanted to live in a movie? And which one was it? Like you just feel so connected. You're like, man, I just want to live in that world.
Oh man, that's that I actually legitimately want to live in that world.
In that moment, you were like, I'd want to live. Like for me, it was Divergent, the first Divergent, when they're like luging through the city, having fun with their friends. You know.
Oh yeah.
I was like, faction, like the Dauntless. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Hunger Games. I'd love to be in the Hunger Games. No, I'm just kidding. No, they all die.
I was gonna say.
I don't want to do that. I always thought, like, going back to like the Transformers movies, I thought the Transformers movies would be really cool. Like to be a part of, to have like these giant robots that are like your buddies.
Or a Bumblebee as a first car.
Yeah, and like, but like that's bad because people die and like the evil robots come, you know. So maybe not that one.
Well, for me, I'd want to be in the one that Megan Fox was in, but that's just because I'm single. I'm just kidding. But okay, now you have your 3 films coming up that you are scouted for. They're paying you a lot of money, by the way. And one's a crime film, one is a romantic movie, and one is a drama. No, comedy, a romantic movie, and a crime movie. You get to pick any city in the world you want for these 3 movies. If you were to do the romantic comedy, which you are, and you're getting paid a lot of money for it, which city would you choose as a film spot?
Santa Monica, California.
Santa Monica, okay.
Yes.
Is it just because you've been there before, or like?
It's because I've been there before, but like there's the beach and they got the pier with the big Ferris wheel on it. Like that's in a ton of movies, and just like the beach area with the palm trees. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
So that might be cool, or like someplace like stereotypical, like Seattle or something. I don't know why. That just feels romantic comedy-ish to me.
I thought you'd say New York. But what about crime though? Like, what about your crime movie? Where would you film that?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know. With the way things are going, I mean, there's going to be a lot of crime scenes. Just kidding. Too soon. Too soon. What about for a comedy? Where would you want to film that at?
A comedy. Dang, I guess it would depend on what the comedy is. Maybe like Las Vegas.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of things that are there with like the lights and the strip that could play into a good comedy. Well, I guess like The Hangover was shot in Vegas, so
Do you happen to
that's
know?
my pick.
Do you happen to know where they where Gotham City actually was? Like where they filmed that?
Detroit.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, I have a friend who played a cop on that. On Batman vs. Superman, I think.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I got 2 more questions for you, then I'll let you get back to your business.
Okay.
Which moment, 2 moments in your personal life, if turned into a feature film for everyone to see,
Yeah.
do you think people would really connect with? So I want you to choose something that was very emotionally sad and very hilarious. Maybe just a situation like, what situation in your life, if you were to turn into a feature film, do you think people could connect with?
So I got 2, like, if we're going like sad, that could be in like a sad dramatic movie. One, which could be like an uplifting story, but also not. When I was young, my best friend, who was my cousin, we were like 10, I think, he had cancer. And so his whole journey through cancer and ultimately his attitude up until the end of his life, I think could be really touching. Yeah. So that for sad, that could be in a movie, because I feel like one of the last things he said before he died was, if I could do it all over again, I would have only loved, and I feel like that says a lot about him as a person, but also like everyone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said funny, right?
Yeah. If you have time.
So, okay, so this one would be fun. I went to Fruitport, and we were a part of the volleyball program, and we were the Trojan men, because we were the Fruitport Trojans. Hold on one second.
A little hold music.
Give me the.
All right, you're back.
All right, sorry, man. 2-week-olds, I tell you.
Yeah. I can't imagine, but dude, that's so exciting. How'd the tree go, by the way? You guys still have to decorate it?
We didn't end up getting it because the place wasn't open, so we got to go on the weekend. But comedy, I went to Fruitport, and we were male volleyball supporters. We were called the Trojan Men, and our whole job was to just be as obnoxious as possible. Like an example is, if 2 girls on the opposing team went for a ball at the same time and then they stopped, we would say Medusa, and then everyone would stand still for like 3 minutes. And so we were absolutely obnoxious. But I thought a movie about that group and their like journey together, like into like cheering their volleyball team on into the championship, would be hilarious.
I thrive on your enthusiasm.
I think I actually started writing it like 12 years ago, but I mean, I'll never make it, but I always thought that could be a really funny movie.
That's cool. Okay, this is one a lot of people have been asking. Can we expect a Getting Coffee rap music video in the near future?
I hope so. Maybe one day. What do you think?
I think we need to spit some bars right now.
Some bars right now. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do it.
My friends call me Coco, and I'm about to tell you what's up. I drink a lot of coffee, I can't get enough. I drank 5 pots, I use 1 cup. I mix a lot of creamer, call me Cream Puff. Man, I'm never sleeping, I'm wide awake and dreaming. I even drink it black, you can call me Morgan Freeman. People when they see me, these people can't believe me. I stole a lot of coffee, went to prison, baby, free me. You got it.
With the I'm sitting in this coffee shop. It's no lie, I'm here a lot. Then I take initiative, apply, and get the job. Excited and shouting, I'm making money and counting all the Jamaican Blue Mountain my mama's fave. So I'm taking and making things that'll crave and I'll savor, saving the flavor so hot that you got to put your name on a waiver. It's
suspicious where the dishes went.
Yeah, I forgot it.
That's
Worth
dope.
It's suspicious and whatever, worth the dishes.
When you got this brew, dude, I appreciate it. That's
Oh
awesome.
man, I can't believe I'm forgetting my own verse.
It's suspicious and worth it. Dude, I just remember we were walking on the pier or something. You were talking about like, oh no, that was Blind. We even did a rap song called Blind where you're
Yes, we
like,
did.
my ribs and no muscle definition.
Yep. Had to
Yeah,
play
we
it
have rap
myself
songs
on
that
the
are
rap
unreleased rap songs. I mean,
Oh, it's obsession, addiction. I mess around in the kitchen, creating more for the 4 in your portfolio to adore. In the store, you can order espresso shot for $1, but probably not for your daughter because it's hot, like Mordor or Frodo from Lord of the Rings, but it's shorter, but called tall for some reason. I know it's slightly confusing. It don't make sense to me, and I'm not talking about change. We're rapping about coffee, so we might be deranged.
might be deranged. All right.
Everybody
Thank you. You know what's crazy? The Extreme Tour just started a Spotify playlist for all the Extreme Tour artists, and I saw they added Getting Coffee.
That's so funny.
All right, so any upcoming projects that you're working on, and where can we find your stuff? How can we be the best supportive community we can be? I want everyone who saw this to, just like really help out if you can. You know, if you like what you heard and want to support him in his endeavors with movie and help him afford things, like, come on, step up.
So unreleased, we have one called Scones. Hold on, I'm gonna go to my IMDb real quick. All right, unreleased. What'd you say?
Scones, scones are good with
Coffee.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a look. Can't believe I gotta look. Okay, so upcoming release is going to be it's called Real American. It's a TV series that is actually, they released the first 2 episodes, but they're getting a lot of buzz from festivals, which is really cool. So they're going to wait a little bit to release those. I don't know where they're releasing that one. Then there's one called One Love, which we haven't shot yet. And then there's one called Dinosaur Cove, which is done, and it has had some smaller premieres, but this one is a full-length feature film. It's a kids movie shot in Muskegon and Detroit, and that one's about some kids who accidentally stumble upon some real-life pterodactyl eggs, and so that one's a really fun adventure with a great director, Daniel Knudsen, and a couple producers, Jared and James, and they're great. And so that one will have a premiere soon in the next few months, I believe. And then my guess is that'll go on streaming services like maybe Vudu and Amazon Prime. I'm fairly positive it'll be on Amazon.
Awesome.
And then Carrie and Just Save the Universe, which is a lot of fun. It's a throwback to the old 80s style movies. I play a creepy 80s record producer, so I have my hair all slicked back, and I'm trying to sign these girls, but I have bad intentions. That one's in post-production right now. And then we got one called Scones, which it was made for a thesis project for a film. So that one I will be sharing whenever it comes out. And then I have one called Marriage, which is it's about the struggle of a relationship after an argument between a husband and his wife. And then First Impressions, which I am writing and directing and producing that one. And that one's about 4 guys waste time at the bar by trying to get the cute girl at the bar's phone number. but that one, it sounds bad, but it's really about how you need to not be creepy. That's basically it. But it's like a comedy about how not to be a jerk or anything like that. So
It sounds like I need to hear that one. I need to see that. Because me and Chris would go into Wendy's or we would write phone number on the receipt, and I would say, "Hey, you left something out of the order."
oh no,
See it, and
horrible.
I never got phone numbers, but a couple were like, "Hey, can I keep this receipt? Show my boyfriend."
And then if we get the budget, we still have a few of the crew ready to shoot Healing Embers, the feature film, which is the short film is a serious drama about two estranged brothers who come together through the passing of their dad.
Written, right? Like you have
yes.
to be able to make it into a feature film, but you just
Yep,
made
it. Yep, we have. Well, we did the short film in 2017, and we're just now rewriting all of it to make it a feature. So there are aspects of the short film that we add in, but we reshoot everything. And this one actually has more comedy in it. It's the two brothers who are estranged. One of them lives in Florida, one of them lives in Michigan. Their dad dies, and he leaves them a car. And so the whole movie is about them trying to get the car from Michigan to Florida. So it's a road trip dramedy is what it is. So like they gotta mend their friendship and their brotherhood, but there's also like it's a road trip movie between two brothers, so it's gonna be pretty funny actually.
Yeah, he's like, "You're crazy.
Mostly
You're
drama.
crazy."
Mostly
You're like,
drama.
"Of course I'm crazy. Are you gonna pay for a motor? You're gonna
Yep.
pay for towing?" That's funny. Well, dude, I appreciate your time. So those are the projects. Where can we for people that just want to follow and be prepared to give or to keep up to date on stuff, like where's the best way to find you?
The best way to find me is if you go to Facebook, and then facebook.com/Cameron Michael McCormick, or if you type in Cameron McCormick -actor, I believe, acting page is what it is, and then you should be able to find me right there. And I post as much as I can to stay up to date. I try not to annoy people, so I only post when they are for sure, like when for sure things are going on, and it's just every once in a while keeping people updated.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to anybody that might be interested in acting, or somebody that is a new dad?
Oh man,
Words
as a
of
dad, just try to be as patient as possible and understanding. It's not easy, and I love good dads and good parents in general. Like you just see it, and you can tell when a parent like loves their child, and even if the child needs to be disciplined, like there's always love behind it. And then what was the other question? Acting. So if anybody's okay, so the process of acting, honestly, I would start on Facebook, find acting opportunities in Michigan as a page. Look at Compass College of Cinematic Arts, Motion Picture Institute, and see when they have casting calls. And once you get to acting on those, they're very you get a good sense of networking, because there are people on that set who will remember you because they're in film school, and they'll think, I liked working with that person. And then that could, like, a lot of my relationships are from people at film schools who have acted with. And most of them don't pay, but you got to start out like building your resume before you can start getting paid. And then once that happens, you can look at agencies. I have 5. I have one in Los Angeles, 3 in Detroit, 1 in Chicago, and 1 in Grand Rapids. And so once you get your resume and your headshots, definitely reach out to agencies, and then they'll try to keep your work consistent. And also, no matter what happens, no matter how busy or tired you are, you need to like keep up with the grind. I fail at that all the time, but I'm always trying. So don't give up.
Dude, I feel like I've gotten to know you a little bit better, but also I can see into your life a little bit more. You've kind of like enlarged the TV screen, so to speak, right? I can now see a panoramic of how helpful it can be to have a wife that believes in your dreams and is willing to help you with the auditions, and how tolling the businesses, but like that you have self-control enough to know when to jump in a role and when to step out of an emotion so it doesn't affect the role. I've learned a lot about how important teamwork is, and the humility involved in taking a step back and allowing others people to use their gift. And that, that cultivates a very helpful chemistry when it comes to creating a product. So, I got to hear a bunch of memories that you had making movies, and we were able to bond over the 1990s movie cases being all hardcore plastic, and
Oh yeah, stepped on, like, you stepped on those things.
so
What's up? Anybody ask any questions?
they're not coming, but I'm trying.
Oh, I see. I was like, oh shoot, like
I
did something
tried. For those of you listening to the podcast in the car, I was just about to try to make myself cry to impress Cameron. But the tears didn't. It doesn't mean I don't love you and I'm not going to miss you. It just means I couldn't express
I don't know. It doesn't really feel like that at all, but that's okay.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have an awesome night. Thank you so much for joining me for this interview, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Wait, were there any questions from anybody?
Dude, way to think of other people. 3 dots. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we had a lot of people. Are you able to see the comments
Oh yeah.
the whole time?
No.
So when I turned
Nobody
off,
commented, but people watched. That's cool. That's cool still.
well, no, because okay. So if you guys have a question for Cameron, make sure you send it to his inbox.
Oh, there we go. I'll answer away.
Sorry about that, dude. I was trying to see your face the whole time.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. Well, dude, thank you so much again for spending time with me. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your December, the holidays, and the tree. Get that tree.
I know. You too, dude. Thanks so much for having me. It's always a blast. I love talking about films and life. So appreciate it, man.
Cool, man. Deuce.
Later.